Kokomo. I'm a minister in the Christian Reformed Church in North America. I'm a pastor of outreach at Grave Christian Reformed Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Our church is located in a place that faces issues of homelessness and mental illness and addictions, and so when I heard about Just Faith as a way to move from ministries of mercy into ministries of development and advocacy, it seemed to me, along with our team, that this was a way to equip and educate our congregation.
What I find really compelling about it is that it brings together in the best possible way spirituality, education, and action. So we have the best teachers in books, in videos, in person, and we go out and encounter Christ in the face of the poor. One of the most exciting moments every year in Just Faith is in one of the early sessions where we are asked to bring in someone from our own community who encounters the poor, who is living the difficult life of the poor. And my husband, who happens to be very, very involved with the local soup kitchen, always goes out to the woods and brings 2 or 3 of the homeless members of our community in. And it's quite amazing to see the response when, for instance, a man will come in fresh out of the woods with his hunting knife on his belt and his cowboy hat on the back of his head and looks around and says, "I haven't been in a Catholic school classroom since I was 18. And you look at him and you say, people say, "Really?" And then you begin to learn that it was his schizophrenia, which he's been afflicted with since his early 20s, that has put him on the streets rather than in the kind of comfortable home that the rest of us might enjoy. It is Christ in the face of the poor, and we are privileged to encounter that regularly in the Just Faith programs.
Made many changes in my life, but the thing that is so gratifying to me is to watch how my family, who have never been through Just Faith, have also changed and become outward focused on the world and not so inward focused on themselves.
It just
Thank
seeps
you.
in your soul, and today in my life I feel closer to God and closer to the world and all the people and the connections of love and compassion for everybody through this program. And I just think it's just the most wonderful, one of the most wonderful things you can do for yourself and for the world, is to be seeped in this scriptural, gospel, prayerful process program.
And for me, the experience I will always remember is during one of our immersion experience, and that when we went to detention ministry. For detention ministry, we went to the Central Juvenile Hall, and I have an accent, I'm French speaking, and I have no experience dealing with people in detention, and I was a little bit scared or afraid to whether will I understand them, or they will understand me, or what to say, and so on. And I found that so moving, so touching, that when I saw that person and she told her story, and even at that night I cried. I cried because I felt really blessed. In the sense, it's not what I brought to her, that what she brought to me. And this is what really we experience, that more and more when we minister to people, we minister to Jesus Christ. And he is the one who, I would say, minister to us.
And that
through them.
experience of sharing of mutuality, I guess what you would call it, continued on as we talked with the men who were in the recovery program, and they talked about their dependence on Jesus Christ to pull them out of their crisis. At the end of their testimony, members from our group spontaneously started sharing their testimonies of how Jesus has pulled them out of a crisis. And by the end of the time, we discovered we had more in common than what we had not in common.
In my private life, I've always been kind of standoffish. I've been kind of in the background. When I joined Just Faith, it was a whole new awakening for me. I got involved in detention ministry, and from that I got involved in legislative advocacy, which I never in a million years would have thought that I would do something like that. And it's just been very rewarding.
I want to share the love that these programs have brought in my life, that love of Christ that is so rich, so deep, and so all-encompassing and welcoming to every child of God. And I want to share that, and that is why I love JustFaith.
And lo and behold, I'd known this gentleman for 20 years, and the stories he gave in just that short half hour opened my eyes to his world. We'd never talked eye to eye about racism. It deepened our relationship, and it really deepened my ministry to learn more about racism in my life. So, with that, I'm just trying to get the word out that of the many topics, one, if not more, will pull at your heart, open your eyes, hopefully open your ears as to what we should be doing on every other day of the week, just besides Sunday.
And there have just been so many countless stories, but most especially for me, my faith sometimes didn't feel as integrated as it should, because I had no sense of prayer, and then the action almost seemed separate. And JustFaith Ministries gave me the roadmap for integrating that in a profound way, and has postured me with an attitude of gratitude and a deep sense of God's presence in every moment of my life. And I can hardly wait to see what the Holy Spirit has in store as I move on. So JustFaith Ministries has been an absolute inspiration in my faith tradition as a Catholic to dig deeper, learn more, and move toward conversion.
I think I've come to realize that my relationship with God is my relationship with those that don't have all the advantages that I've had. And in that way, I feel much closer to my church, my faith, my God than I have. And I'm just so profoundly glad to have had the experience and continue on this journey with JustFaith through other programs and connecting with other people that have gone through the process. So thank you to JustFaith.